I used to replay conversations and actions in my head, wondering, did I do the right thing? Should I have said something different? It was as if I was running a marathon in my head that I didn't realize I had signed up for, not until I learned this. Hi, I'm literally Melda, and on here I talk all things lifestyle, tech, and fashion. If you're interested in things like this, don't forget to subscribe and follow for more. Today, I'll be talking about overcoming the overthinker in me. To be honest, I grew up knowing myself as an overthinker. It was not something that I stumbled upon. Growing up, I always played scenarios and conversations in my head, wondering if I could change the future or the past. But I realized that this was a far cry for help, because I soon grew up to be an adult who overthought everything, even scenarios that never would happen. I would think about them, telling myself that I'm trying to protect myself just in case it happens, I'll be safe. But that was far from the truth, because even when I overthought a scenario and it did come to pass, I still felt the exact pain and horror I thought I was trying to alleviate or run away from by already thinking about that terrible situation in the way I did. But rather, I was living the pain twice, because not only was I living the pain before it happened, I also still had to live the pain when it actually did happen. There were obviously 1,001 other scenarios I had overthought in my mind, which never really came to pass, which meant that I was putting myself through torture. And I don't think anyone should be put through this, not even my worst enemy, because overthinking doesn't do anything. It just makes you feel like you have something under control, or makes you think that you have something going on, when really you don't. It's almost like chasing smokes and mirrors. You have nothing really. Overthinking just makes you go in a tunnel thinking you are trying to get to something when you are really not. Overthinking is like opening 50 tabs in your brain and then wondering why everything is running slow. We believe if we think about something long enough, we'll find the perfect answer. But in reality, it only makes things worse. The worst part, most of what we worry about never comes to pass. Study shows that 85% of what we worry about almost never happens. So why do we still do it? Taking a personal story, for instance, I actually overthink everything in my daily life. And taking a very recent scenario, I have been overthinking starting to learn a new course to help me develop in my career. And this literally exhausted me to the point that I didn't even eventually start the course, which meant my career development was on the line. And this made me feel bad, because I procrastinated and procrastinated, more time went by, and I still didn't start this course. Why? Because I overthought it in my head. I played out the whole scenario and gave myself a so-called satisfaction, which made me feel like I had started learning this course, but in real life I had not started nothing. In fact, I was way behind than I realized. And this is when I reached a turning point in my life. I started using one simple rule. If I can take action now, I do. If not, I let it go until I have more information. That mindset shift alone saved me hours of unnecessary stress. Here's what actually worked. In order to tackle the overthinker in me, I have begun living by 3 simple rules. And so far, living by these rules, I have seen improvement and growth in my life and in activities I normally would have put off because of overthinking. Starting with the first rule I live by, the 5-second or the 5-minute rule. This rule basically says that if something takes less than 5 minutes to do, I'm definitely doing it now. And if a decision takes less than 5 seconds to make, I'm definitely making it now. This helps me erode useless thoughts in my mind, which might be gaining credence before, thereby focusing on what really is important for the now. For instance, if I need to do something and I know it would take me 5 minutes, why not just go and do it? Folding the laundry. We know it's not going to take so much time, but we always put it off and postpone it, thereby not even doing it, and laundry keeps on piling up. I know we've been guilty of this. Fold that laundry today. This is an example. If something would take less than 5 minutes to do, I'm definitely doing it immediately and not overthinking it. And again, if a decision takes less than 5 seconds to make, I will definitely be making it immediately. I'm not going to hold myself back by overthinking it and thereby handicapping myself and not even taking action. Especially if the decision, when I think about it, doesn't have long-term repercussions. Obviously, if a decision has long-term repercussions, I would advise that you sleep it out, you think about it thoroughly before you make it. But if a decision doesn't have long-term repercussions and it's something that you can come back from, instead of overthinking it, just make the decision immediately in 5 seconds. Don't overthink it. Just just do it. The second rule which I live by that helps me overcome the overthinker in me is, will it matter in a year? Do you know that 90% of our thoughts lose power when we zoom out? So when you zoom out of that thought that is rumbling in your mind and you ask yourself, will this actually matter in a year? You realize that you don't have to even overthink it. If it would matter in a year, then go for it. Overthink it all you want, but that will still help the problem. But that just means that you need to take actions in more sustainable way. But if you think about it and realize this won't matter in a year, then why lose sleep over it? Literally, why lose sleep over it? Since I began to think of every thought that goes through my mind this way, I have realized that I have literally had no time spent overthinking over trivial matters, because it doesn't make no sense. It's taking energy and exhausting me for nothing, for something that wouldn't even matter in a year. Nah, I'm not doing that anymore. The third rule which helps me overcome the overthinker in me is replacing thought loop with movement. I realize that when I feel like I've gone into the spiral of overthinking, when I do some exercise, journal, take a walk, talk to people, or just read a book that takes my mind off it, it helps me erase the madness. Doing something out of your mind, basically. So whenever I catch myself overthinking, I literally go for a walk, take a stretch, do some exercise, read a book that takes my mind off, literally do some physical activity that isn't just based on my thoughts alone. This helps me fade the overthinking in my mind and makes me focus on the present and on things that I can actually do in the now. You realize that when you're doing things and you're focused on the present, you can't overthink because your mind can't be in two places at the same time. When you're focused on what you're doing presently, you literally fade out the thought of overthinking. Thus, that is why I've replaced my thought loops with movement, stretches, exercises, and the like. These are the three rules I have begun to live by that is helping me evade and fade out overthinking. And I hope that if you apply these three rules, it helps you as well. If you have other rules you live by that help tackle overthinking, please leave it in the comment section and let's have a conversation. Overthinking steals back time we can never get back. The less we think, the more we live. If you struggle with this too, let's start breaking free together. Comment below the one thing you're letting go of today and let's get the conversation kicking. If you have liked this video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, and if you have not joined the family, please click the subscribe button and join the family today, and stay tuned for my next video. Till then, I'm your girl, literally Imelda. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.